So, as we get to welcome our first act on the stage, Matt, start clapping your hands. Start building up. Get louder and louder and louder. As we welcome to the stage, the wonderful Cosmic Cat!
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi. It's lovely to be here. It's lovely to see everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Before I start, I just want to address something because I know what you're all thinking. Like, golly, isn't she a bundle of contradictions? Lovely dress and battered old Converse, full face of makeup and hairy legs. Although I don't think you can see that online unless you have a HD TV. So sorry about that. But basically, I just want to do my bit for feminism and bust that age-old myth that women take a long time to get ready. Because I certainly didn't. My name is Cosmic Cat. Cosmic because I've always felt like I'm from another planet and I'm still trying to find my place on Earth. And Cat, great name for me. I absolutely love cats. I'm totally crazy about cats. I even have a cat, although sometimes she doesn't know when to pick her moment. She's not very socially intelligent, shall we say. The other day I was having some me time, some self-love time, and I was right in the middle of it, and she came and she decided to lie on my chest, and I had two thoughts in that moment. One was, this is wrong, I should probably stop. And the other was, well, she's a cat, she doesn't know what's going on, and I've come so far. Well, not yet. So I decided to continue. She started purring. It was very relaxing. I used my spare hand to give her a little pet, effectively stroking two pussies at once. Most girls use a rabbit for that kind of thing. Public transport. That's really expensive, isn't it? Oh my God, she's so crazy. She don't know how to segue. Public transport, expensive, am I right? I don't drive, so I have to rely on public transport. And it is expensive, right? Whether you get in the bus or the train or the tram if you're posh. And the solution that I found to this is to hitchhike. And my friends say to me, oh, but Kat, aren't you worried about hitchhiking? Aren't you worried that you're going to end up in the boot of some serial killer's car, your body dismembered and eventually distributed in some remote moorland? And to that I say no, because whenever I go hitchhiking, I'm like, well, whoever's picking me up is like a spider. And what I mean by that is, as soon as they hear this accent, they're more afraid of me than I am of them. So, yes, if you haven't already guessed, I did grow up in Northern Ireland, not Canada, America, or Scotland, as some people wrongly guess. People always ask me, what was it like growing up in Northern Ireland? And I'm like, well, it had its positives and it had its negatives. The positives are things like beautiful coastline, free prescriptions. Yep, that's about it. Negatives were things like when I was 7, me and my mum had to be evacuated from our house because this guy accidentally blew himself up with his own petrol bomb. So annoying. You see, it's not just ISIS who have the monopoly on suicide bombers. We have them in Northern Ireland too, except they're not born out of a desire for martyrdom, they're just incompetent. The funny thing is, though, he did become a martyr. They painted a mural of him on the other side of the town, and the dramatic irony of it was that he had his petrol bomb in a cake tin, and they painted the mural next to a bakery. That bakery, though, best cakes in town, used to go there every year for my birthday, but it was always a kind of Mission Impossible style thing, because this area of town, it was very problematic to be a Catholic in, and we used to go after school, and if I was wearing my school uniform, it was basically like having "I am a Catholic" written on my forehead. So my mum would take me, and she'd be like, "Stay in the car, I'll go get the cake." Do, 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 do. And she'd even bring a keytar to do that little thing. And she'd be like in a black bodysuit, dodging laser beams to get my birthday cake. It was worth it, best cake in town. When I was 18, I escaped Northern Ireland, and I went to university as far as I could possibly go without leaving the UK, which was Exeter. or Exeter, as it's also known. And it was here that I expanded my mind and my social circle, and I began my career as a raging alcoholic. I don't drink anymore, though. I decide to play to my strengths in this life, and I'm not very good at drinking, although I suppose in some ways you could say I am good at drinking. I'm so good at drinking, I got to retire early. I'm like the Bjorn Borg of drinking, except my last Grand Slam ended in a trip to hospital and being sick of my own handbag, because I'm classy. Because I'm classy that way. The one good thing about being an alcoholic, I must say, is that I do have a lifetime sponsorship deal with Jack Daniels. One of the things that made it kind of difficult for me to accept that I had a problem is that I'm Irish. So anyone else who was doing the things that I was doing, at some point their mates would have pulled them to one side and been like, look, I think you have a problem, you need to get help. But because I'm Irish, I could be running down the street naked, grinding on your granda, and my friends would just look at me and be like, oh, isn't that nice? That's part of her culture. So I'm going to sing a little song for you, which is an ode specifically to the Irish alcoholic. If you're an English alcoholic, sober up and see the light. But if you're Scottish or Irish, it's your birthright. I don't really know where the Welsh stand. I think they're more into drugs. But the Irish pride themselves on being fighting drunken thugs. Oh, fiddly-dee, have another Guinness on me. Forget about the fact that Seamus wrapped his car around a tree. On the road, don't say no, slancha, let the whiskey flow. Your liver's failing, but you're not to worry, that's how it goes. On St. George's Day, you might just have a quiet pint. But to celebrate St. Patrick, we get steaming day and night. He drove the snakes out of Ireland, we drive our morals out with drink. Because living up to stereotypes is easier than you'd think. Oh, fiddly-dee, like leprechauns, we're wild and free, been drinking whiskey from the bottle since we were the age of tree. So fill up your cup and shut your mouth, from county down to county Louth. A drunkard and a waster is all you'll ever be. 'Cause if you're an Irish alcoholic, it is your destiny. So, if you haven't already been able to tell, I'm a little bit mental. I'm more up and down than the value of the pound. And as you can probably imagine, that makes romantic relationships a little bit tricky. Historically, I haven't been very lucky in love. I say historically because I have a really nice boyfriend at the moment and he's watching online. But historically, I haven't been very lucky in love. Up until this point, I think I've had longer relationships with toothbrushes than I've had with men. And one of the reasons for this is that I suffer from a very serious and as yet unrecognised disorder known as My Fair Lady Posh Boy Fantasy Complex, or MFLPBFC for short. And what this means is that I am simultaneously wildly attracted to and repulsed by posh public school boys who seek to improve me in some way, and it never works out. I mean, it worked out for Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, but that is a book, and it doesn't work in real life. But in the beginning, I'd always be like, oh yes, teach me how to use my knife and fork properly, teach me how to foxtrot, teach me how to suck a dick without gagging. By Jove, she's got it. So yeah, I could say that I've been through my fair share of breakups, and breakups are always shit. I don't care what you say, breakups are always shit, but there's always going to be that person that's like, oh my god, I went through this breakup, it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, I took up a new hobby and I really got to practice self-love. Bullshit. That person is not a real person, they're actually an android that's been sent from another planet, and I would know. So yeah, I'm just going to finish on a quick song, which is about breakups, and I dedicate it to anyone who's currently going through a breakup or who has been through a breakup, because, you know, we all know what that's like. So. You're sitting in a dark room, listening to Total Eclipse of the Heart on repeat. Then you turn around, put on a rom-com and shout bullshit at the TV. Then your friend calls you up and says, why aren't you at work? You say, I've taken the week off for crying. My heart is so broken, I feel like I'm dying. But then your head says something like this. Why don't you just get over it? It clearly doesn't matter. Don't eat too much ice cream or you will get fatter. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but maybe not for you. What about a lobster? Hey, what'd that do? Why don't you just get over it? You didn't like him anyway. Maybe it's easier if you believe that he was secretly gay. Rejection's like a kick in the balls if I had them. So now I'm gonna cycle through angry, sad, lonely, angry, happy, sad, and back again. You're stalking him on Facebook and wondering if he's doing well. Then you punch a wall, eat a hash brownie, and deep dive into despair. Dye your hair a different color and go undercover, catfishing him on Tinder. You make a voodoo doll and set it on fire. But then your head says something like this. Why don't you just get over it? It's clearly not an issue. If you need to cry, just get another tissue. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but maybe not for you. What about some crabs? Hey, what'd that do? Second thoughts, I think I'll pass on that one. Why don't you just get over it? Shame you can't drink the pain away. But like James Bond, I decided I'm gonna die another day. Rejection's like a punch in the ovaries that will never produce the eggs that could eventually become our future children. So now I'm gonna cycle through angry, sad, lonely, angry, happy, sad, demented, deranged, fine, mad, calm, and back again. Thank you, everybody. I've been Cosmic Cat. Have a lovely evening.